the best, it seems. Do you like to live in your house, or sometimes would you like to have a change? Go somewhere or go and live in your friend's house? Wherever we may go, we will have a tendency to come back home. After studying your 12th or degree, you may go for getting trained in some professional courses. You may go out, go away from home and stay in hostels or somewhere. Maybe you go abroad. But there will be an instinct, a thirst to come back home, because home is such a sweet place for anyone. Is it the same for animals too? Do they really have homes? Do they live like us? Do they have a liking towards their home? Let us see our present text lesson, My Home, Your Home. The lesson number 2 is about two mice, a village mouse and a city mouse. Misty, the village mouse, visits the city mouse, Sonu. If you look at the lesson, page number 14 in the textbook. Once upon a time, there was a little mouse called Misty. He lived in the country. Country means a village area. Country. India is my country, we say, but it is nation. Here, the meaning country is village side. One day he asked a friend from the city to visit him. That mouse name was Sonu. The two mice, they were friends. Did you get the difference between mouse and mice? Mouse is singular and its plural form is mice. M-I-C-E, mice. Mouse, mice. When Sonu arrived in the sense reached, Misty invited Sonu to visit him, and then when Sonu arrived, they sat down for dinner. It's our custom, hospitality. If a guest comes to our home, we give them something to eat and drink. When Sonu came, Misty offered him some food and they sat down for dinner. What do you mean by dinner? Night food. Very good. Misty gave him barley and grains to eat. What did Misty offer Sonu as dinner? Barley and some other grains. Sonu was surprised. Just tell me, if guests come to your house, will you give the ordinary food to them or some special items? How will you treat them? Doubtlessly, you will give the best at your house, right? There is a saying, best for the guest. But here, Sonu expected such a special treat, but Misty gave him barley and grains. Sonu was surprised. Surprised in the sense, a kind of wonder. What? Really? He said. Sonu started speaking. Really? You do not eat well at all. You people are not eating well. Don't you eat good food? You do not eat well at all. You should see how I live. I have all sorts of fine things to eat at my home. You must come to visit me. It's really very nice to live in the city. Sonu was talkative about the city, about the lifestyle of city. Yes, we know that city life is full of excitement. There are functions and evening purchases, shoppings, celebrations. Comparing to a village side, city is more expensive, enthusiastic, and celebrations too. Very often they have celebrations. Now Sonu was telling Misty, you do not eat well at all. You must see how I live. You must see how what I eat. You have to visit me once. You should come to my home. You know, city is such a wonderful place to live on. Little Misty agreed. In fact, he was also waiting for a chance to go to the city. So the little Misty, the village mouse, the country mouse, agreed to visit the city. One day he went to the city to meet his friend. Sonu took Misty to a cupboard. Cupboard. See the pronunciation? Cupboard. It was in the kitchen of the house. Kitchen is a place where there are delicious articles, pulses, grains, sweet things, snacks are kept. So, kitchen is the most suitable place for people who like to eat. And for insects and such rodents such like this animals, little animals, kitchen is the best place. Miss Sonu used to live in the kitchen cupboard. So when Misty came, Sonu took him to the kitchen cupboard. He used to live in the shelf. Cupboard in the sense shelves, small shelves. They climbed onto the lowest shelf. So cupboard in the sense one by one there will be steps, right? Shelves there will be, right? So they just climbed onto the first shelf. First step of the shelf. Lowest shelf. There, behind some glass jars, stood a big paper bag of brown sugar. What do you mean by brown sugar? Just like our white sugar. Sugar is known as white poison. If possible, try to avoid using it. Sugar is not that good to use. It will not do any good to our body. So try to avoid sugar if possible. Because sugar is known as, it has a nickname, brown sugar. Sorry, white poison. Sugar is white poison, it seems. Here, Sonu found a paper bag full of brown sugar. A thing having brown color but is so sweet in taste. Little Sonu gnawed a hard, G-N-A-W-E-D, gnawed, in the sense nibbled. The way mouse ate is called nibbled, N-I-B-B-L-E-D, nibbled. Sonu nibbled a bit. Sonu nibbled a bit and then offered the same to Misty. Misty, come and taste it. Come and have it. What a tasty thing it is. Little Sonu gnawed in the sense nibbled, bite a bit. And then a hole in the bag. Then he invited his friend to nibble for himself. Come and taste it. Come and enjoy the sweet. The two little mice nibbled and nibbled and nibbled for their heart's content. To their maximum, they enjoyed the sweet. Misty thought it was the most delicious food. See the usage, most delicious. Have you studied the degrees of comparison? Positive degree, comparative degree and superlative degree. We compare things to another things. And there are degrees. We will discuss it when we take the grammar part. Now just keep it in mind. Most delicious is a superlative degree. Delicious, positive degree. More delicious than comparative degree. Most delicious. The most delicious, it is a superlative degree. Misty felt it was the most delicious food he had ever taken. About what food? About which food Misty feel that it is the most delicious item? Yes, brown sugar. Where did Misty get the brown sugar from? From the cupboard in the kitchen. Who offered it to him? Sonu, the city mouse. Yes, come back to the text. Take page number 15. How lucky Sonu is. See the exclamatory sentence. We have learned exclamatory sentence that they express sudden emotions like wonder, fear, shock, pain. Here, Sonu is offering a bag of brown sugar to Misty. After tasting the sweet, Misty is wondering, exclaiming, how lucky Sonu is. He thought as he ate. Suddenly the door opened with a bang. The cook, Mary, wanted to get some flour. Just imagine, the shelf is closed, but inside, who are there? Misty and Sonu are happily eating inside the shelf. Suddenly, the door opened. Oh, it was a shock for Misty and Sonu. Suddenly, the door of the shelf opened. The cook, Mary, wanted to get something like flour, powder of a grain, from the shelf. Run, whispered Sonu. Run, baby, run. Escape, whispered Sonu. Whispered in the sense, spoke secretly, softly. Whispered, whispered. Sonu spoke softly. Now, where is Misty? Misty is in Sonu's shelter. Where does Sonu live? Sonu lives in the kitchen cupboard of a house. Sonu invited his guest, Misty, the country mouse, and took him to the shelf in the kitchen. There the two little mouse nibbled and nibbled what? Brown sugar. A bag of brown sugar was there, and the two mice started nibbling and nibbling to their heart's content. Misty thought it was the most delicious food he had ever taken, ever eaten. See, most delicious. What is this form of language or what form of grammar is this? Degrees of comparison. Degrees of comparison is used to compare one thing with the other in different degrees. There is positive degree, delicious. Comparative degree, more delicious than. And the superlative degree, the most delicious. You have studied this in a simpler form in the previous class. So, we will discuss this during our online session when we take grammar more and more. Now, let us just read it. Misty thought the brown sugar was the most delicious food he had ever taken. And to his heart's content, he started eating it. You know brown sugar? It is a kind of sweet in brown color. So, how lucky Sonu is. Misty just thought himself. He started to speak himself in exclamation. We studied this exclamatory sentences express our sudden emotions like pain, pleasure, joy, shock, wonder. Sonu is exclaiming here, wondering. In surprise, Sonu is telling how lucky Misty is telling how lucky Sonu is, the city mouse. Why? How can you say that Sonu is lucky, fortunate? Because Sonu is able to eat such different food items. In the country where Misty lives, there is only grains like barley and other things. But in the city, variety of food items are displayed, and that made Misty to murmur how lucky Sonu is. Suddenly, when they were eating, there was a banging sound. Suddenly the door banged. And the cook Mary wanted to get something from the shelf. Suddenly the door was opened with a bang sound. Sonu was shocked and Misty also was shocked. Run, whispered Sonu. They ran fast as they could. As fast as they could. They ran to the maximum speed. They wanted to hide somewhere. They rushed into the little hall from where they had come in. There was a hall for the shelf, and through that small hall they got inside. When the door was banged to open, they were shocked and they started, "Run, baby, run!" Misty and Sonu ran to that small hole through which they got inside. Poor Misty was shaking all over. Shaking in the sense, shivering the body out of fear or pain or anger also. Sometimes we shiver with anger. Sometimes out of fear. Sometimes out of pain too. However, Sonu said, "That is nothing. She will soon go away. Then we can go back." This was a very silly matter for Sonu because he has such many experiences. So Sonu said, "Misty, it is nothing. Misty, it is nothing. She will soon go away. Then we can go back." After the cook had gone away, they had shut the door. They stole softly back. Stole softly back means move back quietly. Quietly they returned to the previous place where they were nibbling brown sugar. Misty was, this time Sonu had something new to show to Misty. He took Misty into a corner of the top shelf. A big jar of raisins stood there. What are raisins? Raisins are dried grapes. How do they taste? So sweet. Dried grapes are a matter of grace. Very tasty item. This time, where they had gone, they moved to another shelf, the corner of the top shelf, and a big jar of raisins stood there. After much tugging and pulling, they got out a large dried raisin out of the jar onto the shelf and began to nibble it. It's a kind of dried fruit. So after much pulling and tugging, they tried to bring it outside. After much pulling and dragging, they got a raisin out of the jar and they started nibbling it. Very tasty item. This was even better than the brown sugar. While eating the brown sugar, Misty felt, "Oh, this is the most delicious food I have ever eaten." But now, this is something better than the brown sugar. Misty is feeling dried grapes, dried fruit, raisin is something better than, even better than the brown sugar. Misty liked the taste so much that he ate it as fast as he could. At once they heard a scratching at the door and a sharp, loud meow. Who might have come? Any idea? Yes, you said it. A cat. Billu, the pet cat of the house. Billu, the mouse hunter of the city. The perfect mouse hunter of the city has come. They had a kind of scratching. Scratching means rubbing with the nails. A kind of scratching sound on the door and a kind of sound. Meow. Who are the greatest enemies of mouse? Doubtlessly, we know Tom and Jerry. Yes. Cats are the enemies of mouse. So this was more frightening than the previous experience for Misty. "What is that?" asked Misty, alarmed. Alarmed means horrified, seriously frightened, terrified. Sonu whispered. Whispered in the sense, speak softly. Then he ran as fast as he could to the hall. There is always a hall through which they came into the shelf. So Misty and Sonu ran as fast as they can. As soon as they were out of danger, Sonu said, "That was Billu, the cat. She is the best mouser in the town." Mouser in the sense, mouse hunter. One who follows and kills the mouse. If she catches you, you are lost. You are no more. You are dead. There are certain meanings in the textbook. Design the heading, "My home, your home." If you want at the background, you can even draw a house, your dream house. Be it a tree hut, be it a thatched house, whatever it may be. Your dream house you can draw on the first page where you write the title, My Home, Your Home. And then read the textbook minimum 3 times and write the meanings, synonyms from the taken part. And there ends our topic today. Bye bye all of you. Enjoy.